place where violence and mayhem seize the day, where soldiers defeat one another to claim land for their kings, a place where glorious battles take place, but in their plights, could humans truly be alone?
There are alien dwarfs walking among us today.
Could all our greatest historical moments be the result of an ongoing battle between the good and evil alien factions?
Hitler was an alien.
Beyond a shadow of a doubt, Jesus had diabetes.
Follow along with us as we explore a brave frontier of new evidence suggesting that not only are we sharing our galaxy with intelligent life, but sharing the same planet as well.
Santa Claus in his sleigh and a nuclear reactor.
And could ancient aliens be amongst us today, running our world, influencing our leaders, taking our jobs?
The Great War between the Pilgrims and the Turkey had only just begun.
Find out tonight on Aliens of the Past. Where does Christmas come from? Have you ever asked, why do we hang up mistletoe? Why do we drink eggnog? Why do we put up wreaths? All extremely common, but uncommon for any other time of the year. Do these traditions actually have true history? Ancient astronomers say yes. We begin our story in ancient Egypt during the time of the slaves, Moses and Santa Claus, and their unlikely friendship.
Egypt was a tough place to be a slave at that time. You were beaten, killed, sometimes even whipped. I know for sure that isn't somewhere I would want to be.
In Egypt, the evil ancient aliens were helping the pharaoh to build these pyramids. One was meant to be an interdimensional portal for demons, one an intergalactic teleporter, and the other to be a grain silo.
Each pharaoh himself could have 1 million, 2 million, sometimes even 12 million Jewish slaves. And I find that to be an astronomical number of slaves. Jewish slaves.
Moses found himself angry, retaliatory toward the pharaoh, and demands his people to be set free. But the pharaoh wasn't having it. So Moses, using a great unknown alien power, casts a curse across Egypt and brings forth 9 of the 10 deadly plagues.
Could it be possible that the pharaoh had 12 million Jewish slaves? Ancient astronomers say yes.
Out of all the slaves, there is one who stood above the rest. He recognized a better world. He felt like there was a better kind of humanity out there. His name was Santos Kolumas, or translated into English, Santa Claus.
Santa Claus was probably tired of the way his people were being treated. And if that meant fighting, running, or even possibly, maybe evenly, killing the pharaoh.
What Santos Kolumas didn't know was that Moses already had a plan of action. It was at this time that he launched the deadly plagues, and in the commotion, Santa Claus was able to steal an alien spaceship that we would come to know as his sleigh.
At the end of the 9 deadly plagues, Santa had felt that that wasn't enough, that the Egyptians had not been punished enough. So he made a list. He even checked it twice. A list of slaves and a list of Egyptian children.
Santos Kolumas wasn't ready to let them get off so easily. He had his fellow slaves mark their door with the blood of lambs, and within his new spaceship, he found a button to open the interdimensional portal and release the race. With the race at his command, he killed all of the firstborn Egyptian children.
Santa's wrath had been fully realized, but was this enough? Could Santa have left it alone?
That list was only the beginning. It was called the Nautilus, given the name for being the first deep-sea scroll found from an archaeological dig of Santa.
Archaeologists found a scroll in the ancient Egypt of the Nautilus cave. They dubbed this scroll the Nautilus Scroll. Could this be ancient Sanskrit for the list of the naughty? Or the naughty list?
After Santa captured the spaceship and murdered the Egyptian children, the Jews were still left with a problem. Where would they go? What would they do? It's believed that Santa Claus actually escorted the Jews and Moses towards Jerusalem, providing them with food and water on their journey.
Could it be possible that Santa used reindeer to bring rainwater to the Jews on their desert pilgrimage? Ancient astronomers say yes.
Reindeers, or should I say, reindeers, played an integral part in keeping the Jews nourished, and even more, played a part in their escape beyond the Red Sea.
It was at this time that the Jews found themselves stuck between an army of the Pharaoh's elite and a raging, unforgiving sea. They were completely and utterly trapped.
We see a growing trend here. Red Sea, red doors, Rudolph's red nose. What is red backwards? Deer. These deer could actually control the flow of water. And when they flew through it, split the sea right in the middle, like some kind of sea-splitting deer. I mean, reindeers don't have noses.
Santa slaying his reindeer had so much force, they brought the strongest force on Earth itself to a standstill.
Santa Claus had secured his race and his people, and took them away from an evil alien tyrant. But if he had the power to save the Jews, would he also have the power to destroy them?
Jewish slaves.
Ancient astronomers have already proven that Santa Claus was in Egypt and had assisted Moses in freeing the slaves. But did he continue to help out others in need after that?
Santa had a great power, and with great power comes great responsibility.
There are multiple accounts of a warrior in red who appear in times of great need. We believe this warrior is Santa Claus.
Multiple accounts of Santa Claus in art around the world show him fighting and leading the charge against evil ancient aliens who, if they had a choice, would have killed the Jews.
Santa Claus has been written in art from Norwegia, Japan, Russia, Australia, Europe, even Germany. History proves that Santa was there for every important battle.
Could it be possible that Santa Claus is fighting evil alien forces in the Middle East right now? Ancient astronomers say yes. But could any of that compare to the story that was about to unfold in 0 BC? The birth of Jesus.
The birth of Jesus was a huge event in human history. We've based timelines around it, we've written songs about it. It was kind of a big deal.
Everybody knew about the birth of Jesus. The Santa Claus, the evil alien faction, the great unknown. There was said to be a star in the sky above Jesus. Many claimed it was the Star of David, but we believe it was Santa's spaceship.
How do you think Santa could light up the sky for hundreds, thousands, even millions of miles? The Earth is about the size of the moon. Santa Claus and his sleigh had a nuclear reactor.
There are many people who believe that Jesus wasn't born on December 25th. They cite that shepherds wouldn't be in the fields working, farming, herding their sheep. But archaeologists found snow peas, ginger snaps, iceberg lettuce, snowball cauliflower, iced tea leaves, deli cold cuts. I'm getting chills just thinking about it.
The wise men had been told by aliens, or angels. Either way, they were told by aliens to follow the light and heat that Santa Claus was emitting to find baby Jesus.
The wise men brought the very first gifts to Jesus Christ. This was actually the first point in time where the commercial tradition of Christmas actually started. They brought gold, frankincense, myrrh, and a space heater. A space heater, as we know, is a machine used to heat a localized location. But what if they meant something else?
How can you heat up all of space at one time? The sun. Did they bring the actual sun to the birth of Christ? Is this what they meant when they said the Son of God?
But as it was cooling down in Bethlehem, things were really heating up in Jerusalem, as King Herod declared all-out war against the children of Judea.
King Herod was given a direct order from the evil ancient alien factions to find baby Jesus and murder him. At this time, Herod had killed thousands of babies. Herod was a bad, bad man.
When the angels spoke of Herod, hark the herald angels sing, this was mistranslated. They actually said, hark the herald angels sing. They were warning us of the man. They were saying, listen, watch out for Herod. He is evil. He's killing babies.
King Herod was sent to Judea to kill baby Jesus, Mark Antony was sent to Egypt to find the origin of Santa. Both were trying to impress Augustus Caesar, the head of the snake, so to speak. When Caesar died in 14 AD, he said, "Have I played the part well? Then applaud me as I exit." Was he talking about the part he played for evil, ancient aliens?
Speaking of illegitimate children, what did Joseph think of all this? Did Joseph even have a last name? Was it Caesar?
As written in the Bible, God had always been watching over Jesus. But from the very first day, could that have actually been Santa Claus?
Paintings everywhere show a man with a white beard in the sky looking down on Jesus during birth, during his baptism, during his miracles. Was that God? Or was it actually Santa Claus?
We don't know what God looks like. He could be a child, or a woman, or a transdimensional sponge cake. But what we do know is Santa had a white beard, Santa flew through the sky.
Ancient astronomers have proven that Santa Claus might be God. But there was a bigger question at stake. Could Jesus have been a transgender? An American study in 2015 showed that most people preferred their prophets and martyrs to be extremely diverse. Could Jesus have followed suit to this fad?
These days, people find their underdog where they can get it. Nobody is really an obvious martyr anymore. If Bruce Jenner could be Messiah and loved by many, why couldn't Jesus?
We believe Jesus was actually a transsexual, gender-neutral, transracial, transgalactic entity. This is why he's loved by so many, because everybody can relate to him.
I don't know. Probably.
So could Jesus really have been a transsexual, gender-neutral, transracial, suborbital, anatomically incorrect, gender-fluid, transgalactic sponge cake? Ancient astronomers say no.
What? No, that would just be stupid. A what cake? That's ridiculous. Maybe a chocolate cake.
When Jesus performed his miracles, some may have been beyond his capabilities. Could it be that Jesus had a little bit of help from Santa?
We all know at this point that it's a fact that reindeer have the ability for aquatic manipulation. Maybe they helped Jesus walk on water, or maybe they helped him turn water into wine. I mean, he'd be way less popular if he was turning wine into water.
Now at this point you may be thinking that reindeer are actually biological beings, but we believe them to be machines. Kind of like a John Deere. I know, because my name is John, and I'm not a deer.
Jesus was responsible for bringing Lazarus back from the dead. Now, we know that Santa didn't have this kind of power. Could that power have come from the great unknown? Could it possibly be aliens?
Was Jesus the harbinger of the zombie apocalypse?
Jesus was no doubt a gift to man, and professed nothing but good. But was his death part of the conspiracy?
Was it Pontius Pilate or Pilate Pontius?
Jesus Christ? Julius Caesar? Jim Caviezel? John Cena? JC.
Aliens. Aliens.
You're probably wondering why we drink eggnog. You may be wondering the origin of this fascinating concoction. Or you might be wondering why we aren't talking about Jesus anymore. But questions aside, this is the story of eggnog.
Eggnog today is just eggnog, but a couple hundred years ago there was an explorer named Ponce de Leon. He was searching for the fountain of youth, but on this journey, he discovered an alien factory that was growing alien clones instead.
Eggnog was actually called this for a reason. What, did you think it was made from chicken eggs?
Ponce de Leon piloted his ship with a fleet of Mexicans on his passage to Puerto Rico.
Ponce de Leon found an alien cloning facility, or a factory, and thought it was the fountain of youth. Him and his men drank the incubation fluid in hopes to become young again. But when it wasn't working, Ponce de Leon had to find out why.
When Ponce de Leon found ancient documentation proving that this was an ancient cloning factory, he knew there was only one option: to keep drinking it.
Ponce de Leon wanted to fully sterilize the incubator fluid by adding alcohol to the mix, thus guaranteeing it unusable.
After Ponce de Leon came back to Spain with his fleet of Mexicans, he told the people of his journey what he had found in that strange new land. Eggnog has been consumed in honor every Christmas with a touch of rum or bourbon.
In the 16th century, they didn't know what to call it. They actually had to make a whole new word around the subject. Egg being incubator, and nog being of unknown origin. It was only by the 17th century that nog was defined as a brewed drink.
So could it be that eggnog is consumed every year in honor of Ponce de Leon? Ancient astronomers say, probably.
I guess so. I don't know, guys. Was Ponce de Leon even real?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes, then. Definitely yes.
Ancient astronomers say yes. Ponce de Leon was declared a hero worldwide in the 1500s. But now we travel back in time to another story. A story of rage and retribution. The story of Santa's revenge.
After the murder of Jesus Christ, Santa Claus was pissed. He asked himself, why did the great unknown nurture this man? Why did they make him such a great leader of love and peace just to murder him in the end?
Santa Claus had had enough. For thousands of years, he let the great unknown run the show. But that time was now over.
Santa Claus rounded up the troops. Him and Mary Magdalene, in a vengeance of Jesus, hatched a scheme that would change the face of humanity as we knew it.
In Santa's spacecraft, he found a piece of alien technology used to clone the alien species. It was like a genetic seed of what we would call alien DNA.
Mary Magdalene was actually the first incubator for this alien genome. 9 months after her conception, they birthed something that was almost like a god. He was born with perfect skin, a tail, an extremely handsome facial construct, and wings. Santa appropriately named him Beelzebub, the Lord of the Flies.
But what Santa didn't realize is this creation, as perfect as it was, would be defiant and unwilling to follow his orders.
Beelzebub was defiant, realizing he didn't come from Santa Claus, had gone out of his way to find out where he came from. It was only a matter of time till he found the cloning materials and put 2 and 2 together.
Beelzebub was an alien.
It was at this time Beelzebub, or should I say Satan, changed his name in spite of Santa and left the North Pole forever. Satan then went into a chasm at the center of the earth and named it Hell. I mean, what could be more of a polar opposite of the North Pole than hell?
I mean, come on. The evidence is irrefutable.
But before Satan left, he manipulated the genetic code of the machine irreversibly to ensure Santa Claus could never create something like him again. When Santa Claus and Mary tried to make more of these alien gods, they could only produce dwarves. They still had wings and angelic faces, but never grew to full size.
So could it be that midgets are actually dwarves, and dwarves are actually little people, and little people are actually elves? Ancient astronomers say yes.
Santa Claus continued using the machine to create this angelic, evil, ancient, alien, elven DNA. But Mary could not continue birthing these aliens on her own. So Santa Claus started outsourcing to humans. Santa Claus would actually go around each Christmas and inject human females with his genetic code. If you know what I mean.
It's fact that all dwarves are born in August, about 9 months after Santa's injection. These women would see defects in their children. Remember, dwarves didn't exist before this. So when Santa would come to the operating table disguised as a doctor, he'd offer these children an orphanage and take them back to the North Pole, offering them sanctuary.
Santa Claus in his sleigh had a semen factory, alright?
Santa Claus learned his lesson with Satan, knowing that if you want them to remain docile, you have to clip their wings.
I mean, how else do you think Santa grew an army of pocket-sized elves? A sperm factory!
But not all of these elves were born the same. Some were born adept, cunning, capable, intelligent, and ready for revenge. There was a dwarf early on who saw through Santa's plan and formed an escape that would go down in history. His name was Cupid. Could Cupid have been real? Ancient astronomers say yes. The first known record of Cupid was in 420 AD.
In 423 AD, the death of Honorius was a scandal. He fell ill and died. It's believed that he was assassinated by a poisoned arrow. Could that have been Cupid?
Cupid had a direct hand in assassinating the emperor. After Honorius' death, he was replaced by V. Valentinian.
This can't be a coincidence.
Cupid's always been portrayed as a midget, because Cupid actually was a midget.
Thus began Cupid's plan to stop Santa's elven weapons manufacturing development production facility. Cupid had begun a plan that would change the month of February forever.
Saint Valentine, acting as a puppet, many years later introduced the idea of love and conception in February. Could he have been doing this to stop Santa's plan of December pregnancies? Science shows that women birthing in November can't conceive in December, thus protecting them from Santa's super spunky sub-assembly station.
Cupid partnered together with Saint Valentine to convince humans to conceive children on this date, February 14th. Cupid would actually assassinate anyone who stood against this idea.
I mean, come on! Why did Cupid carry around a bow and arrow? You can't make people fall in love with the bow and arrow. You kill people with arrows!
Saint Valentine was an alien. Wait, no, he wasn't. But he could have been.
The evil ancient aliens were still in cahoots with the Romans. They were all for this plan. Why do you think out of all the holidays out there, this is the only romantic one?
Santa's plan to seek revenge for Jesus' death had been slowed, but not thwarted. Merely 1,000 years later, Santa had launched a scheme so grand that nothing could stop it. Operation Christmas.
In the 16th century, Santa's plan to infiltrate the Roman Catholic traditions had finally come to a head. He had convinced the Gothic German people, who were super angsty, to let live and enjoy one day of the year. They brought their pagan traditions of the winter solstice, Christmas trees, wreaths, and mistletoes. All of these were accepted by the Catholic Roman Catholics. Little did they know, these were actually armaments of Santa's elfin factory.
Armaments? Did they mean to say ornaments? Are ornaments actually armaments? Are these put on trees and wreaths to protect them from evil ancient aliens? Is this a grenade?
Mistletoes are tracking beacons for tow missiles. Mistletoe? Tow? Missile? If you dissect the scientific name in Latin for mistletoe, you get Santa Lacea. Santa milk thieves. Santa Claus was using mistletoes to locate free milk.
We believe coal is actually a byproduct of Santa's weapons factory. When Santa leaves you coal, he's practically saying, look, we know you're bad, we have weapons, we're coming for you.
But none of these weapons could compare to his greatest and most ancient secret weapon, the wreath. Why do we hang wreaths on the door? Could it be a safeguard against evil ancient aliens? A festive bundle of holiday fun? Or perhaps Santa's secret interdimensional portal for the transportation of hostile phantom entities?
The wreaths on the door are actually representative of the blood of the lamb back when Santa released the race to murder the Egyptian children. Wreaths today are a modernized version of that blood.
It's not a coincidence that wreaths and race are so similar. If you look at the etymology, it shows that these are actually the same word.
As Santa grew his network of weapons and technology, uncovered an ancient alien technology for transmitting messages to and from his weapons. To facilitate this repeated pattern, Santa helped install an infrastructure of grand, noble, Douglas, and fir trees, or frequency intercepting receptors. As a countermeasure to Santa's FIR trees, the evil ancient aliens created RFI trees, or radio frequency interference trees, to disrupt Santa's communications.
What, did you think those were trees? That's obviously not a tree. Don't you see the metal and satellite dishes? Those aren't ornaments. Those are satellite dishes.
Santa Claus had secured his infrastructure of assault to save humanity from the evil ancient aliens. But were these efforts enough? Could it be enough to stop his greatest adversary to date, Nebuchadnezzar's Scourge, or translated into modern English, Ebenezer Scrooge?
We know for a fact that Santa Claus was using evil ancient alien technology to assault the evil ancient alien faction, and nobody knew this better than Ebenezer Scrooge.
Ebenezer's sister Fan and Jacob Marley were actually insurgents for the evil alien faction. When Scrooge found his sister's body, he found coal. When he found Marley's body, he found coal. And when his fiancée left him, he found a note, written in coal.
Nebuchadnezzar Scrooge wasn't happy with Santa. Was his wife having an affair with Santa? Is that how she got the coal?
I mean, why do you think he refused to buy Bob Cratchit coal for his fire? Scrooge was enraged. Why did it seem like Santa had it out for him?
Scrooge had spent the next 7 years studying ancient literature to find out how to defeat Santa. Santa discovers this and starts sending wraiths to kill him.
But Jacob Marley's spirit found a way to use the wreaths to tell Scrooge to listen to the wraiths, that they would save his soul. This confused Scrooge, as the wraiths he knew were always trying to kill him. So to cast Marley away, he angrily yelled the word, "Bah humbug," to dispel the phantom.
Why doesn't Bahumbug have an etymology? The Greeks never used it, the Latins never used it. It has to be alien. When the Rosetta Stone was looked at under UV light, it revealed the rest. Bah humbug was the word they found.
Bah humbug is actually an ancient Sumerian word that translates back to Beelzebub, Satan's fallen child.
I mean, come on, think about it. Bah, like a butt-eatle. Hum, like the hum, like the buzzing of flies. Bug, like a bug. A fly is a bug. The Lord of the Flies. But he's a bug! Ah!
If some bugs have fur, and some fur transmissions are bugged, could it be possible that bugs are actually aliens? Ancient astronomers say yes. But as an etymologist, there was one question that was really bugging Scrooge. What race had Jacob Marley been talking about?
There are believed to be a class of master race who aren't rabid, such as the regular race Santa uses. These more evolved race are believed to come from the great unknown. And when they approached Scrooge, the simple hex, bah humbug, had no effect.
Not only were these rays self-aware, but they were also omnipresent. They could travel time. They were above the laws of our dimension. Were these rays the Holy Trinity, the light of the world, the King of Kings, of Christmas, the wrath of God, the wraith of God?
Scrooge was an asshole!
These elder wraiths saw potential in Ebenezer Scrooge. They saw that as evil as he may have been, he was simply confused, misdirecting his pain and rage towards Santa, who was trying to protect the world from his asshole business partner and his bitch of a sister.
Ebenezer Scrooge turned his life around at that very moment. He crowned a child, shipped a dead animal, mooched off his nephew's tanner, and saved Tiny Tim from being terminally ill to terminally ill.
And as Scrooge's heart changed, so did Santa's. For the first time, he had seen true humanity. He saw a world in which even the most evil and darkest person could be rehabilitated, and his heart had grown 3 sizes that day. From then on, Santa swore his powers for the good of humanity, and took it upon himself to bring cheer to all.
Moses, Jesus, the great unknown, elder race, Ponce de Leon, his fleet of Mexicans. In the end, everybody came together to make the world a better place. And it's all thanks to one common denominator.
Aliens.
You might be wondering why we have books under our Christmas tree. It's because knowledge is a gift.
Did you record that?
Are you an alien?
I think aliens.
Scrooge was an asshole!
I'm sorry, I can laugh.
That was a burp.
Less horny on the Bahumpuck.